I'd like to call this meeting of the Allgood City Council to order, please. And I would like to ask Pastor Terry if he wouldn't mind leading us in the invocation, and Chief Armour.
Father, we're gathered here in this great city of Allgood to discuss, to plan, and to seek your will. We pray, God, that your will be done, that you will bless everyone here, bless the members, and bless the decisions that are being made. Pray that they are all according to your will. Help us to be honest, help us to be open, and help us to be unified. In Jesus' name, amen.
Ms. Walker, would you be kind enough to take the roll?
Honorable Mayor Fowler.
Here.
Honorable Councilman Bilbrey.
Here.
Honorable Councilman Graves.
Here.
Honorable Councilwoman Hawkins.
Here.
Honorable Vice Mayor Hill.
Here.
Next item is to consider the agenda and the minutes, and we have previously had those given to us, but I will ask if you'd now look at them, consider if there need to be any changes, additions, or deletions.
Motion to approve the agenda.
I have a motion to approve the agenda as well as the minutes.
Yes, please.
And do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Walker?
Mayor Fowler.
Yes.
Honorable Bilbrey.
Yes.
Honorable Graves.
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hill.
Yes.
Now, under new business, we have consider to approve suspending the reading of the following ordinances and a resolution. And I have been over this before, but these ordinances are quite lengthy, and we're going to discuss each one individually. So rather than read them all at this time, I would consider a motion to approve suspending the reading of Ordinance 709-24, 710-24, 711-24, and Resolution 364-24.
I make the motion.
Mr. Bilbrey, do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Hawkins? Ms. Walker?
Mayor Fowler.
Yes.
Honorable Bilbrey.
Yes.
Graves.
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hill.
Approval, and this is on first reading of Ordinance 709-24 to amend the fiscal year 23-24 budget. And I don't know, Mr. Morrison, do you want to explain what that's about?
I can. There's actually a couple items on here. One is a net change to decrease the general fund by $45,000 and increase the park's capital outlay by $45,000. That is for the dog park fencing and also for the additional expense to repair the tennis court over here, which is underway. The other changes are to increase the water sewer revenue line 37-110 by $73,200 and to increase the fire department grant revenue line 37-105 by $39,320. Also, we will increase the water sewer expense by $73,200 and increase the fire department grant expense by $39,320, which is a net zero change. The money in and money out are equal on that.
All right, since there is no additional money is being expended, since it is exactly a net zero change, I would call for a motion on ordinance 709-24
I make the motion.
to approve 709-24. Yes, sir. All right, is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Walker?
Mayor Fowler,
Yes.
Honorable Bilbrey,
Yes.
Honorable Graves,
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hill.
Yes.
Item number 5 is to consider approval of the first reading of ordinance 710-24, adopting fiscal year 25 budget and setting the property tax rate at .3623 per $100. And it says sponsored by Mr. Morrison, so I will let you have that.
So the general fund, the total revenue estimated for fiscal year 2025 are $3,824.188. The total expense for fiscal year 25 is estimated at $4,091,214. That is a decrease in general fund balance of $267,026. For the state street aid, we're showing $131,100 in revenues and $131,100 in expense. I would go back and say the general fund balance is estimated to be at the end of fiscal year 25, $6,204,000. The street aid fund is estimated at the end of fiscal year 20. Fund, we're estimating $35,000 in revenue, $35,000 in expense, and an ending cash balance for fiscal year 2025 of $30,853. For the cemetery fund, we are estimating a revenue of $18,475 with an expense of $18,475, with an ending balance for fiscal year 2025 of $462,629. For the water sewer fund, we're estimating a revenue of $4,142,480 and an expense of $4,331,050 and an ending cash balance at the end of the year for fiscal year 2025 of $3,557,109. We currently have 2 bonds or indebtedness. Those are for both, are for the water and sewer utility. The principal outstanding balance for the PBA of Clarksville, that is for the Old Walton Sewer project that we are wrapping up now, is estimated to have a remaining principal balance on June 30th, 2024 of $2,247,000. And then there is a note with the state where we did the Bear Creek Sewer with a remaining balance of $795,993. The pending capital projects for next year are the Buck Mountain Water Tank at $500,000, which Putnam County is helping us with on an ARP grant of theirs. And then we also have a TDEC grant for this coming year for sewer rehab. It's 100% because we've already met our match requirement of $967,000.
I would point out that the property tax rate of .36 per $100 is either the 10th or the 11th year. Somebody can correct me on that if you know specifically, but I think we're in the 11th year that we have not had to raise taxes. But saying that there are some items that citizens are concerned about and would like to see happen, just we don't have the budget for it for this year. But at some point, I just want everybody to know, and nobody likes to hear that dreaded T word about taxes, but I'm afraid that if we continue to grow and need to do more repairs and projects that we may have to consider that at some point, but at least not for this year. You have any questions or any concerns that they want to ask Mr. Morrison about the budget?
I like the fact that we're keeping the tax rate the same. The issue that I see right now with the budget is we just started talking about raises at the work session last night. We've had the budget in front of us for 3 or 4 months, but nobody said anything till last night. We spent about 5 minutes on it. And now we're going through all kind of scenarios of, do we do 3.2% across the board, 4% across the board, 50 cents on the hour, cap something at $1 an hour? There's about half a dozen scenarios. And even though I may vote tonight on the first reading, I'm not, maybe I'm the only one up here, but we need to have some serious time sometime before the next month's up to discuss this issue. What are we going to do on the raises, if anything? And like I said, maybe I'm the only one that don't understand it, but we've been looking at a lot of emails and calculations, and I'm sort of confused myself.
I'll echo. I agree completely. We need a little bit more time to digest it. And Keith, did you build in anything into this thing for an increase in salaries? If so, how much?
So last month when I presented the budget to you all, it had 50 cents an hour raise across the board. That remains in the budget and has not been changed. You all had asked for some numbers last night, so I've tried to get those to you. So as it stands right now, it does have 50 cents per hour across the board included in the numbers that I have presented tonight.
Well, excuse me, since this is first reading, is it possible that we go ahead and adopt what we have worked out, and then we'll have the next month to consider raises, and then we can do an amendment, or we can, I don't know how we do that on second reading.
We can, so we can adopt it tonight as is.
I think we've done it before.
And we can adjust it by the next reading. Depending on how you adjust it, I may not have a final ordinance for you that night if I don't get it until late, but I can get it as close as I can depending on what numbers you all ask me to put it in there.
Well, I agree with Mr. Graves and Vice Mayor Hill that we probably do need to consider that a little bit more. I'd feel more comfortable looking at all those scenarios first reading so that we can have it done hopefully in June and meet the July 1 deadline that the comptroller has. I would go ahead and make the motion that on first reading we go ahead and adopt the fiscal year 25 budget as presented and setting the property tax rate at 0.3623 per $100. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Walker?
Mayor Fowler,
Yes.
Honorable Bilbrey,
Yes.
Honorable Graves,
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hill.
Yes.
Item number 6 is to consider approval on first reading ordinance 711-24 to change the zoning classification of approximately 1.1 acres at West Church Street and West Washington Street from R1 low density residential to R2 medium density residential. And you should all have received an outline of that. I've got pictures of what that is and where it is, and and it says here that it's sponsored by the Planning Commission, but I don't know that it was recommended by the Planning Commission.
I put that as it come from the planning commissions where it normally starts. So the owner of the property is GNC Properties. This is located at 64 West Church Street. That is next to the big McGugan house sitting there on Church Street. It went to the planning commission. They voted to recommend it, and it failed with a 3-3 vote. So it was a split vote. Mr. Blair, I don't know how that would be considered a negative. It didn't get a positive, so would that be considered a negative or just a failure to recommend for a positive? So it's a failure to recommend for a positive recommendation. However, it does still have to come to you all for 2 readings. That is the process. Regardless of whether it gets a positive or a negative, it still comes to you all for final decision. This is the request would move it from R1, which at the given property size will allow 3 single-family homes. Rezoning it to R2 would allow 4 single-family homes. So basically it would even it out, and that's what they're asking, is to be able to build 2 houses facing West Washington Street and 2 houses facing West Church Street. It does not allow duplexes, apartments, or any of those multifamily things that would still require single-family homes. Basically what this will do is move them from being able to do 3 homes to being able to do a 4th home.
Does that allow, that could allow 0 lot lines? So
No.
is it not, it would be possible if there is a 0 lot line that they could get
They'd have to
permission
have a special zoning to get 0 lot lines for a condo and multifamily, and this will not allow it. So even with this, they'll still have to meet all the required setbacks. Bob will verify that the homes are meeting all of the setbacks for R2. So all of that will still be required to be met.
I ask this question every time we do any kind of zoning thing. Any opposition? Did anyone come and I mean, because that's really what we're talking about is neighborhoods, anyone that's just vehemently opposed. I mean, sometimes rezoning, it makes sense, and sometimes it doesn't. And I'm curious as to whether anyone objected to this proposal.
The only one I'm aware of that objective is the folks that bought the McGugan home that live in the house next door to it. They objected to it and didn't want it to happen. They preferred it remain green space and the pine trees not be cut down.
Seems like this has been brought up before.
It has. It's been requested once before.
Even a previous mayor that lived there, I think. It came up maybe during his, I don't know if it was during his term, if he wanted it done. Or.
It's been maybe 1 or 2 years ago.
Oh, okay. Again, since this is on first reading, if the council desires to pass it on first reading, it would still have to have a second reading and a public hearing before it would become final. We can table this item for further discussion or further checking if we need to, whatever the council chooses.
Change this.
that I'm aware of.
I haven't received any letters or anything concerning it, but I have received some comments from people saying they didn't want it. And I don't see that my mind has been changed at all from the last time we voted on this. So 4 houses is, to me, is too much for that little piece of property. It's a low piece of property, and you're going to jam them right in there together. And I just don't see the reason to change anything myself.
So Keith, do we even have to take any kind of action? I mean, if this didn't come from the planning commission or the planning committee with a recommendation, is there anything we really need to do unless we're wanting to approve this?
It can fail for lack of motion, or you can make a motion to deny.
Thank you.
Motion.
Second.
Okay. Mr. Bilbrey and Ms. Hawkins.
Before we go any further, she made a motion to deny. A yes will affirm the denial. A no will go against it.
Mayor Fowler,
Yes, I want.
Yes, you
Yes,
want
I
to
want to
deny.
deny it.
Honorable Bilbrey,
Yes.
Honorable Graves,
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hill.
Yes to deny.
Item number 7 is consider approval of Resolution 364-24, adopting and enacting the amendment to the city charter. And that has gone through the General Assembly and has been approved. However, the City Council must approve it as well for it to become effective.
Correct. So this charter amendment was to add lease language to the charter for real property, real estate, to allow the city to lease property out to individuals. It first came up with the soccer complex wishing to use the football field property. And so that is when our attorney, Danny Rader, recommended that we do a charter change if you all wish to proceed with that. We passed a resolution enacting the language and sending it to the state. They've approved that language and sent it back. This affirmation does require 4 affirmative votes in its favor, and then we will send it back to the state with a letter showing the approval date, how many votes were for it, and then it becomes part of the charter language for the city of Allgood. So again, this just adds the language to lease real property.
I make the motion that we go ahead and approve Resolution 364-24 for an amendment to the city charter, which allows the city to lease rental or lease real property. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Walker?
Mayor Fowler,
Yes.
Honorable Bilbrey,
Yes.
Honorable Graves,
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hill.
Yes.
Number 8, consider approval of the Siddons Martin bid under their Sourcewell contract for an extractor and dryer in the amount of $12,516.29. And that comes to us from the fire department. Is there anything that you want to say to that, Chief, or you want Mr. Morrison to?
This is part of the grant that we were awarded back in December, January. It's for a extractor, a washer and dryer that's specially made for our turnout gear, and it'll help keep our firefighters safe. And it's free money, so we're always fans of that.
Indeed, we are.
Actually, this is an HGAC buy contract instead of a Sourcewell.
Oh.
So we do need to correct that when we approve it. HGAC. Those are pre-bid joint purchasing alliances that we can join. And when we join those, we get to exercise a pre-bid contract. This was under the bid limit, but it still allows us to exercise that authority to purchase off of that pre-bid priced item.
Well, I make a motion that we go ahead and approve this Siddons Martin bid 12 HGAC contract for next. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Hawkins. Ms. Walker.
Mayor Fowler.
Yes.
Honorable Bilbrey.
Yes.
Honorable Graves.
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hill.
Yes.
Okay. Item number 9 is to consider approval of the Siddons Martin bid under the Sourcewell contract for turnout gear in the amount of $19,315.75. And Chief, is that a grant as well?
Grant, we were awarded for the turnout gear and the extractor and dryer.
Thank you. Well, I make the motion that we approve this bid under the Sourcewell contract for turnout gear in the amount of $19,315.75. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Walker?
Mayor Fowler.
Yes.
Honorable Bilbrey.
Yes.
Honorable Graves.
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hill.
Yes.
Now we have the city administrator's report.
City Hall will be closed May 27th for the Memorial Day holiday. On June the 7th, the building will be open, but citizen services will be unavailable as we continue to update software. So the software system will be down that day, and we will not be able to access customer information or take payments on June the 7th. However, if they have an emergency or need to call or just general information, we will still be available to do those things. Again, we just won't be able to access customer account information or take payments. Department heads.
So if we are hosting a basic fire class this month, it'll probably go until about August. So if you see a lot of activity or the fire trucks out in the evening, it's between us, a couple of fire departments from White County and Overton County that we are hosting at the fire department. So far with our pre-planning, I've had a lot of positive feedback from the commercial businesses and all good. And so I think right now that's where we stand.
Thank you.
The annual citywide yard sale will be Friday and Saturday, May the 31st and June 1st. We hope we have people participate in that like we have the past couple of years. Been pretty successful. The dog park project, we've got about 3/4 of the material that we've ordered that's actually come in. I was able to pick up. Should have the rest of that in the next couple of weeks, and if it ever dries up over there, we'll be able to get started on that. And the tennis court resurfacing parts that they needed to rise the nets to regulation level. We spoke with the contractor earlier this week. They've got those parts in, so we anticipate them being able to meet the June 14th deadline at the latest to finish that project.
Just wanted to let everybody know it is mowing season, so you will see the tractors out, and everybody is putting a lot of brush out. And if they would, just put it close to the road and, pile it up the best you can. And we've been doing a lot of ditch work around town. I don't know if you've noticed. We've been cleaning out a lot of tiles because we've had a lot of rain here lately. And for the month of April, we did 352 work orders. So, that's quite a bit. And the White Plains, the drain, it is fixed. So we don't have to worry about Main Street flooding anymore. And our PRV valve for Mirandy, it is in. I went and seen it today. And we have that set up, hopefully, for Mr. Morrison and me for the 29th. We're going to install that. So we just have to let the citizens know that they will be without water. I'm going to say between 4 to 8 hours. So.
That's on the far side of Mirandy. And the isolated water area that will be off will begin at Officers Chapel and extend out beyond that to Perrin Point out in there. So anybody else in the city will still have water. It'll just be from Officers Chapel out Mirandy to Perrin and Perrin Point. So we don't want anybody to panic.
Yeah, I'm sitting up here panicking, going, which side of
Your water will
Mirandy
still
are
be
you
on. Just past you, we're going to turn it off.
Great, that's just great, yes. Thank you for that.
From the police department standpoint, I don't normally do this, but I wanted to commend 4 officers. A couple weeks ago, we had a critical incident. A man armed with a machete was threatening 5 people. Sergeant Ferguson, officers Tyree, Julian, and Rubel. It was right at shift change, so they got day shift and night shift at the same time. They were able to subdue him and use a lot of restraint. No one was hurt, including the 5 victims that were being threatened. He was taken into custody without too much of a major incident. I just want to commend those officers. I also want to say something about Deputy Chief Swallows. He has just been appointed the chair for the local emergency planning committee, and one of the things that goes with that is that's not normally a law enforcement function. So he was picked from his peers to go in. He's been a part of that organization for a while, so I just want to commend him. On May 22nd, we are hosting a organized retail theft seminar. We originally was going to do it in here. It is now up to 56 people who want to attend. It's open to our business leaders. It's open to our loss prevention, to Hope Chanel, and our law enforcement and our prosecutors. Something I think it'll be putting people together from the private sector and the law enforcement sector to work. And just a trivia question, we've got a traffic counter up. Would you believe 67,200 cars came into Main Street in the last 30 days? And that's just at one location, one intersection. And that's next time you play trivia, you got an answer right there for them. That's all the police department has. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Do we have any citizens or delegation that would like to be heard at this time? Okay, not hearing any. We need a motion to adjourn, but I want to remind everyone that our next meeting will be June the 11th. And, I'm speaking for us that we appreciate the job all of you are doing, and I know the rain has been a particular handicap, and so everybody is working around that, and for that I'm thankful. So we appreciate you and the job you're doing. Anything from the council? Okay. Got a motion to adjourn, Mr. Hill?
Motion.
Second. Second. All in favor? Aye. All right. Thank you. We're adjourned.